Well, thank you very much, Ken Workton. We'll take a check down here for Donald Trump. That's what we'll do on In the Sulky.
Yeah.
Anthony Perretti is with us, and all of you know Anthony is heavily involved in the political scene with harness racing in the state of New Jersey. He's a director of the SBOANJ and the chairman of Trot Pack. And Anthony, huge developments as far as the push for a casino at the Meadowlands just in the last couple of days. What's going on and where do we stand?
Well, I mean, there's a resolution being put forth through the Assembly and the Senate, and it's a constitutional referendum, and they've included the horsemen on that referendum, and that means if it passes through the Constitution on the vote in November, we're on the Constitution, and we're locked in.
Now, is this a slam dunk deal that we're going to be on the ballot in November as a referendum, or is there still some work to do drafting this legislation and putting all the pieces together?
We have the support of the legislators, Senate, and Assembly people to be in the Constitution according to this recent legislation. So once it's drafted by the people and signed off on that, if it stays intact, we actually are into the Constitution. So enabling legislation would say how this thing's going to be cut up later on, but being in the Constitution is a very, very, very important aspect of this legislation.
Boy, this is the closest that horse racing, and specifically harness racing in New Jersey, has ever been to being involved with casino gaming. Now, when does the legislative session end? It ends right before Christmas, right? So we've got, what, 10 days to survive this?
Well, basically, it has to be a simple majority of the Assembly and Senate, and that will come across lame duck session, which ends the end of this, actually probably the 21st of this month. That they have to pass it then, and then we have to pass it again after January 11th. If we don't do that, then we have to go a 2/3 majority in July, okay, in order to get it passed. So we'd rather do it now, get it passed in 2 consecutive sessions, and then would be good, and then would give us enough time to get support for the legislation to be passed in front of the public in November election.
Well, it sounds like a pretty complicated process. You're at the racetrack. If you're the odds maker, what are the odds of this actually happening? Are we a 2-5 favorite or 5-1, or what's your thoughts?
I would say, we were always kind of a long shot out by the rail, and kind of hanging in the 8, 9, 10 hole. I think we got a good shot. We're in the 1 or 2 hole, and I think we're 5-2. It's just a matter of the devil's in the details and how much it's going to support and how much money is going to be involved in order for us to get transferred over to our account.
Well, one thing that looks like it's a surety is a lot of the revenue is going to go to Atlantic City, and basically Atlantic City has been struggling over the last maybe 8 to 10 years whatsoever. To have slots in North Jersey, I would guess they'll have to be involved in some way or receiving some of the revenue from that.
Yeah, a majority of the revenue of the taxable portion of this bill, $200 to $250 million, probably will go to Atlantic City. Our portion seems to be coming out, whatever the taxable portion of the state that's taking out would come out of that. And legislatively, that's what the percentage is out of that piece of the pie.
Now, on NJ.com, basically the framework that I read indicated there'd be 2 casinos in North Jersey. They had to be 75 miles minimum distance from Atlantic City. Obviously, the Meadowlands would be the ideal location for one, whether it's racetrack, Izod Center, or wherever, somewhere on this property. Where do you think the other one might end up?
I'm presuming that would be Jersey City. Originally, they talked about 3 casinos in North Jersey, as you know, in Newark, but it seems that they got it down to 2. And obviously, the Meadowlands, according to every polling that you've seen, is a primary site for people, for the populace to have a casino. So they want to get this bill passed in November, because if they don't get this referendum passed in November with the public, they have to wait another 2 years to bring it up. So they want to make sure this passes for sure.
And you are the chairman of Trot Pack, our harness racing political action committee. And how involved is Trot Pack, and have you been with this process behind the scenes? I mean, harness racing, we support 13,000 jobs in the state. Certainly we should have a voice in this.
Yes, it's definitely, and Trot Pack is our political action committee for the harness racing industry. And we are going to have various kind of fundraisers here at Meadowlands, Freehold, and other such places in order to raise money for Trot Pack. Without any political activity, which we've been doing the last 5 to 7 years, we would not have the inroads with the legislators that we have currently, the time and the money spent in order to see this thing through. And right now, this is D-Day, and this is it. And there's no second shot at this. Either this gets done or we're done. So that we have to move forward on this.
One of the problems in the past, Anthony, always seemed like the horsemen had one agenda, the racetrack owners might have had another, the thoroughbreds one, the harness one. Is everybody united on the same page for horse racing right now?
Yeah, I believe we've never been so united before in our time, ever. Including the legislators, including the horsemen, including the breeders and owners. Our board of directors of 15 at the SBOA. We've had some new people on the board. Most of the people on the board and currently people that have come on the board are vested in the industry. So everybody realizes that they have to get this done as a whole and work as a team. And I don't think that's a problem at all. We've had nothing but good response from the paddock, from the breeders and owners, and it's been completely positive.
Anthony, how about as racing fans or our guests here at the track or people watching along our simulcast network, if they wanted to help out with Trot Pack, how do we go about contacting Trot Pack? Is there an email or somewhere we can get a hold of you guys?
Yes, I think if you put it up on the screen is a Trot Pack website, and also you can call me directly. You can call the website or email. It's not a problem. We just want to move forward on this, and I'm completely available to anybody who wants to speak to me and update them on what the political process is and how to get involved. Because if we don't get involved, it's shame on us, really.
Anthony, your positive energy about this and your confidence is the best Christmas present I could have with 12 days to go until the holidays.
I was trying to grow a beard, but it didn't work out.
You're like Santa Claus. That is absolutely fantastic. On a personal note,
yes.
You've started a new business. It's called AP Farm and Bloodstock. What exactly are you doing and what's going on?
Actually, it's Anthony Perretti Farm and Bloodstock, and I'm continuing on with my own farm through the tradition of my family. I purchased a piece of the original farm that my dad was a proprietor before. He had passed about a year and a half ago, so I'm just trying to continue on his legacy. And in the vein of the Yankee Land Farms and the petite quality operation that we've always had. Not as large, not as extensive as we've had in the past, but definitely on the same order and quality and reputation.
Over the last few years, you were starting to dabble in thoroughbreds. Are you doing standardbreds and thoroughbreds, or just concentrating on harness racing?
I'm sorry, I'm Sammy. I'm a standardbred guy. Been there since I'm 17. So if they cut my veins open, it says standardbred. So
well, yeah. Good deal, Anthony. Yeah. Well, best of luck in the new venture.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for what you've done with Trot Pack. And again, let's take a look at the email once again. If you want to contribute to Trot Pack or support the harness racing industry in New Jersey as we try for this initiative, trotpack@gmail.com, or give Anthony Perretti a call. Call me at the racetrack. We'll hook you guys up. Anthony, thanks so much for your time.
Thank
and keep
you.
up the great work.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Sam.
Anthony Perretti with some great news on the political scene for harness racing here in the Garden State. Hollywood Hayden coming up next. Stick with us.